Hi all, my name's Carly. I thought I would give Flosstube a go. I'm very nervous, so if I say a lot or fumble my words, I'm sorry. So a little bit about myself. My name's Carly. I'm from a small town in country Victoria, Australia, with only about 3,000 people who live here, so pretty tiny. I live with my husband, who I married about 9 months ago, and my daughter, who is 9, and his 2 kids, who are 14 and 11. I've been cross-stitching for about 6 months now, but I've always been pretty crafty. Back when I was a teenager, I gave long stitch a go, did a bit of knitting, very basic knitting. A couple of years ago I took up crochet, taught myself off YouTube, just because I like doing stuff with my hands while I'm watching TV or sitting down. I don't really like having my hands still, so I crocheted for a few years, made quite a few blankets for my family for Christmas, also made some stuffed animals, and made a little business out of it, sold quite a few, about 70. Got a bit burnt out though, so I've put my crochet hook aside, and so I thought, yep, I'll give cross stitching a go, and I love it, absolutely love it. So in that 6 months I've learnt that I've got a style of cross stitching that I like, which is full coverage, in particular heaven and earth designs. So in watching my channel you will see a lot of that, so I hope you enjoy seeing what you see. Okay, so my first finish out of 2, that's all I've done. So my first finish out of 2 was a heavens and earth design. It was a quick stitch, so relatively small in terms of heaven and earth. I really enjoyed it. Don't think I would change anything, to be honest, except for maybe the fabric that I stitched it on. I stitched it on a Magic Guide, which is a 20 by 20 square that is printed onto the fabric. Since then I've learnt that I prefer the Easy Guide, I think it is, which is the 10 by 10 printed squares on the fabric. Just, it's easier with the patterns being printed with the 10 by 10 grid. It just makes it easier to follow along with. So in saying that, here is my first. It is a quick stitch Snowflake Wonder by Lisa Victoria. I've done it, it is 2/1 10 stitch. I really like it. I find that 10 stitch is quicker because you're only doing, well, basically half a cross stitch. I don't mind the coverage. DMC is a little thinner though. I've since purchased some floss off AliExpress, which is called CXC, and in my opinion I find that a little bit thicker. So yeah, here's my first little one. Still haven't washed it yet. Obviously when I wash it the grid lines will come out, but I really like it. And so then my next finish, and only finish, I've just done recently. It still needs a good iron before I frame it, but this is for my grandmother, who also cross stitches, and she really likes Christmas, and so do I, and so I thought this was a good gift for her for this Christmas, and it is the Merry Christmas by Cottage House Needleworks. I've done all the called for colours except for the green. I did the DMC equivalent. And yeah, I really like how that turned out. And it stitched up really quickly. It took me about 3 days of stitching. And yeah, I really liked that. Okay, so onto the whips. Even though I've only been stitching for about 6 months, I have quite a few whips on the go. I am one of those people who like to stitch what calls to them. Next year I'm going to try rotation just so that I can try and see some progress on especially my Hades, because they are big full coverage pieces. But firstly we have Cinderella by Alexandra Dorr, I believe. This is technically not a full coverage because you don't stitch where the white is, but I absolutely love it. And here is my progress so far. So up here, that is one page complete where the line is, and then down here is the next page. I've gridded it with silky thread, I think, just because it's on a opalescent even weave and I wanted to show the fabric and didn't want to grid with pencil because I was a little bit worried about it not washing out. So my hope is that I can get that finished by October next year so that I can enter it in our local show, because I would love to see more people get into cross stitch, and believe that would be a good piece. Okay, so next I have Minnie, the Enchanted Christmas Reindeer, by Donna Gelsinger. Again, sorry if I mispronounce any names. You will see probably in my next video, I love Christmas, and so this one just reminds me of Christmas and yeah, speaks to me. And okay, here's what I have of that. So one full page finish so far. Whoop. This is 2/1 10 stitch again. I just find with the Heaven and Earth designs it just makes it go a lot quicker, doing the half cross stitch, and again I like the coverage, and this is with the fabric that I prefer, the 10x10 grid. And yeah, that's that one. Next one is one that I'm doing for my daughter. It is her birthday in February, and when I first started cross stitching she asked me to do her cross stitch piece. I quite like that my daughter likes the hobbies that I like, or likes to receive crafts that I make. And she's fox obsessed. She loves foxes. So when I saw this, it just reminded me of her and thought she would like it. It is by Brothy Threads. It's called The Fox, and it's one of the Gorgeous Girl designs. And this is what I've done of that. So I've got a bit more of the bottom to do, and then I've got to fill in 2 colours of her hair, and then there's just all the back stitching to do. And the needle minder is by House of Meng on Instagram. She's in Indonesia. Great customer service. Postage came pretty quickly. So yeah, I'm hoping to have all the colour, so all the bottom of it done and the hair done by the end of December, so that in January all I have to do is the back stitching and have it. I'll frame it myself and give it to her at the start of February for her birthday. Okay. And next two are my bigger Heaven and Earth designs, which will take me a few years, I'm sure, but I fell in love with them and just can't wait to have them finished and put up in my house. First one is the Amazing Animal Kingdom Max Colour by Amy Stewart. That looks like that. And so far all I've done of this is complete some of the black in page 1. This is when I was trying my hand at extreme cross country. I've since learned that I prefer parking, just because you don't make as many mistakes, or I find. But I'm hoping to pick this one up again this afternoon when my daughter gets back from, she's got dance practice and having a swim with a friend, and then when she gets back and is a bit tired from the long day, I'm hoping to pick that up and work on that a bit today. And then the final whip that I'm working on at the moment is Treasure Hunt Bookshelf Max Colour by Amy Stewart as well. That's what that will look like. I'm doing all these on 25 count, I should have said, except for the frothy threads, the fox one, which is on 14 count Ada. So the Treasure Hunt Bookshelf, this is another one that I did. I was doing extreme cross country and since learned that I didn't like it because I stuffed up on it. Miscounted by about 10 stitches, and I had to pull it out and restitch it. Also with this one, I seem to have miscalculated the edges, and so I only have about 1.5 inches spare around. So any tips on how to go about that when I'm finished and have to go frame it, or should I restart it and order bigger fabric? But anyway, this is it here. So yes, I'm hoping to pick up, hoping to try a different rotation with my work to try and see a bit more progress on all of them. Hoping to give each project 5 days a week in January and going forth, as well as adding in a new project which my family are gifting me for Christmas. This year we have decided to buy what we want, put it under the tree, and our family can give us what we want for Christmas, because that way we're happy with what we've got. So what I'm doing there, well, you'll see my plans. I'll hopefully make a video at the end of December, start of January with my plans on what I want to do going forth. But my main idea is that going forth I will be doing no new starts in 2019. Stitching Mummy here on Flosstube has mentioned that she wants to try and do that, and I think that's a great idea. I have more cross-stitch projects that I haven't shown you here today that I haven't been actively working on, as well as my travel piece that stays in my car, which is some Christmas ornaments that I'd like to finish and hang on my tree for next year. That goes in my car so that when I'm doing school pickup, waiting while my daughter's at dance or karate, I can pick that up and quickly put in a few stitches to try and see some progress with that. But yes, my main focus next year will be Cinderella from Heaven and Earth Designs, to try and see how that goes. And yes, I hope to in the future do a few stitch with me's on my full coverage pieces, because that's what I really like watching on YouTube. And there's not quite a lot, or not that I've found. If anyone has any recommendations for Flosstubers that I can watch that do full coverage, I'm already watching, is it Stitching Jules? I love her. I love her sense of humour. I love how she manages to talk so much. Also, a big shout out to a new friend of mine who I met through Stitch Mania. We were talking, there was a post or something about finding YouTubers who do full coverage pieces, and one girl posted saying that she knew a few, and then a couple of them were Aussie stitches as well, and I love seeing Aussie stitches. There's just not quite as many of us as there are with the US stitches, but that's okay. And anyway, so she mentioned that she was in Victoria as well, and I was like, what a coincidence, so am I. And we got chatting, and I mentioned to her about a stitching group that I recently went to in Ballarat, which is about a 3-hour drive for me. There's not a lot of local needlework stores here in Victoria. So once a month I drive 3 hours, stitch all day, and then drive home. I'm very lucky that I have a husband that supports me with that. takes the kids with him to cricket or with whatever he's doing. And anyway, so I told Laura this, and we got talking, and then discovered that she lives in the town that I used to live in before I moved to be with my husband, and which we thought was quite coincidental. And so we got talking, and I said, you should come to this stitching day, they're really nice people, like, I know it'll be a bit of a drive for you too, it's about a 3-hour drive for her as well. But she came last month, and I got to meet her, and she's a really lovely person. Her name is Laura. She's on YouTube as Laura X Stitches. Beautiful, beautiful person. Very funny and caring, and yeah, I feel like we've gotten to be quite good friends, chatting quite often on Facebook Messenger, so that's good. And what else? Trying to think of what else. So yes, like I said before, in the end of December, start of January, I hope to come back and tell you my plans for 2019. I'm hoping to have a finish. Hopefully I'll have the fox finished for my daughter, so that I don't have to worry about that in January. But we'll wait and see. And I'm also planning on next year doing Stitch from Stash, just to try and stop buying when I'm trying to focus on finishing, or at least getting further on some of my pieces. In January I'll probably also do a we'll probably also do a whip parade of the other whips that I have on the go. There are quite a few, because with the no new starts, I decided to start a few things that I hope to work on in the new year, but we'll wait and see if I get there. Right now my focus is on my full coverage pieces, and we will go from there. Okay, thanks for hanging in there with my first, probably very messy, out of place video. I'm hoping to get less nervous in the future, but we'll wait and see. Okay, thank you all. Hope to see you all again soon. Okay, bye.